Hi, my friends. Today, I want to share a new story with you. I hope you enjoy it. My first day at work. My first day at Carter Enterprises was a mix of excitement and nerves. As I walked into the shiny glass building, I felt small and out of place. Everyone looked important, like they had fancy degrees and perfect resumes. I only had a high school diploma, and that made me feel unsure. At the front desk, a friendly woman with a headset smiled at me. "Welcome to Carter Enterprises. You must be Robert here for the induction?" "Yes, that's me." "Thank you," I said, trying to sound confident. "Great. Follow me." She led me through a bunch of hallways to a big room where new employees were gathering. I sat in the back, hoping no one would notice me. Then, the president of the company gave a speech. He had a strong voice and a powerful presence. "Welcome to Carter Enterprises," he said. "You're joining a team that values hard work, dedication, and creativity. Each of you is chosen for your potential." I listened carefully, starting to feel a little hope. Maybe I did belong here. What I didn't know was that the man speaking was my father, and his words were also meant for me. After the speech, people started talking and mingling. I stood near the snack table, trying not to make eye contact. That's when Edward walked in. He looked sharp and confident, like he owned the room. "Robert, right?" he said. "High school grad. Welcome to the big leagues." His tone was fake nice, and his smile didn't feel real. "Yes, that's me." "Thank you," I said, trying to be polite. He leaned closer. "Most of us went to places like Harvard or Yale. But hey, everyone starts somewhere, right?" I felt angry but kept calm. "Exactly. I'm ready to prove myself." He smirked and walked away. Some others around him laughed. I could tell they didn't see me as one of them. The next few weeks were tough. Edward kept putting me down in front of others. One day, he dropped a pile of papers on my desk.
"Here, Robert.
"If you want to be near Harvard grads like me, you'll have to earn it." Another time in a meeting, he said, "I still don't get how a high school grad like you even got hired." People would laugh or look away, but I stayed strong. I worked hard, stayed late, and made sure everything I did was top quality. My plan was simple: work harder, learn faster, and never give up. After a long day, I'd come home to my wife, Emily, and our little boy, Jake. Their smiles helped me keep going. Emily gave me tea and said, "You look tired. Maybe you should talk to someone about work." "It's okay," I said. "I've got a plan." Jake looked up at me with big eyes. "Daddy, are you going to be the big boss one day?" I smiled and messed up his hair. "Maybe someday, buddy. Maybe someday." The next morning, with my family on my mind, I went back to work ready to prove myself. Every insult from Edward became a reason to work harder. Every task was a chance to get better. Little by little, people started to notice. "Hey, Robert, can you help me with this report?" Jessica, one of the new hires, asked. "Sure, Jessica. Let's check it out." I smiled, happy to help. Edward saw me talking with Jessica and gave me a hard look, but he didn't say anything. I could tell he was frustrated that his attempts to bring me down weren't working. One moment really stood out. It was Friday afternoon, and people were ready to go home for the weekend. Edward walked up to my desk with his usual smug look. "Robert, I need these numbers checked before the end of the day."
Can you handle that?"
I looked at the big pile of papers and nodded. "Yes, Edward. I'll get it done." As I went through the papers, I noticed a mistake. It was small but could cause big problems if left alone. I checked the numbers again and saw the error came from one of Edward's earlier reports. Nervously, I brought it to his attention. "Edward, there's a problem with these numbers," I said at his desk. He looked up, annoyed. "What now, Robert?" "There's a mismatch. If we don't fix it, it might cause issues later." He grabbed the papers from me and scanned them. His face turned red. "You're imagining things. Just fix it and stop wasting my time." I could tell he was embarrassed, but I didn't argue. I fixed the mistake and turned in the report. After that, I respected him even less. Still, I kept working hard, hoping someone would notice. As spring came, the company prepared for a welcome event for new hires. In an unusual show of kindness, Edward asked me to take care of the lunch order. I took it as a good sign. I called the sandwich shop and ordered 70 meals, enough for everyone, including myself. On the day of the event, the mood was cheerful. The new hires looked excited as the company president gave another great speech. After that, I started handing out lunch boxes. But when I reached the end, mine was missing. I checked the receipt and noticed the order had been changed. The delivery guy said, "Your manager called and said to make it one less." I walked up to Edward, who was eating his sandwich, surrounded by the new hires. "Edward, can I speak with you? My lunch is missing." He looked at me with a fake smile. "There are sandwich shops everywhere, Robert. Go eat alone, high school grad." The group around him laughed loudly. It was mean and humiliating. I'd had enough.
Fine.
"All of you, your job offers are canceled," I said calmly. The room went silent. Edward laughed. "You can't do that, Robert. You're just an employee." "Actually, Edward, he can," said a voice behind us. It was the company president, my father. He had heard everything. "Robert is my son. He's also the future president of this company. Your behavior has been noted and will have consequences." The room stayed quiet as my father stepped forward. Edward's face went pale. "President, I didn't know." My father cut him off. "That much is clear. Your actions have been completely unacceptable. At this company, we value hard work and character more than where someone went to school." Edward's pride vanished. The new hires who had laughed at me now looked scared and ashamed. "Robert has my full support. Edward, you are no longer a manager. We will fully review your behavior," my father said. I turned to the new hires. "Your offers are canceled. We need people who respect others and work hard, no matter where they come from." The new hires looked shocked. Some looked like they were about to cry. But the message was clear. Word spread fast. The rest of the employees welcomed the change. With Edward gone, the office felt better. I officially took over leadership. My father believed in me, and the employees stood behind me. The days after Edward's firing were busy. His absence left a big gap, but it gave us a chance to fix things and make the company better. As the new leader, I knew I had to step up, not just for my father, but for everyone counting on me. I called a company-wide meeting. As I walked into the big room, all eyes were on me. "Good morning," I said, standing tall. "As many of you know, we've had big changes, but they are for the better. From now on, this will be a place where everyone can succeed, no matter their background." People murmured in agreement. "We'll start new policies to make things fair and respectful. And we're launching a mentorship program to help new hires feel welcome." After the meeting, Karen, a respected senior manager, walked up and shook my hand. "Great speech, Robert. We're excited about the changes." "Thank you, Karen. That means a lot," I said. In the next few weeks, I met with teams, listened to their concerns, and learned what they needed to do their best work. One afternoon, there was a knock on my office door.
"Come in," I said.
Jessica, one of the new hires who had laughed before, stepped in. She looked nervous. "Robert, do you have a minute?" "Of course, Jessica. Please sit." She sat down, took a deep breath, and said, "I want to say sorry. I followed the crowd before and treated you badly. I really regret it." I smiled. "Thank you for saying that. It takes courage to admit when we're wrong. Let's move forward together." She nodded, looking relieved. Just then, my assistant Linda came in. "Robert, there's an urgent call." "Excuse me, Jessica," I said as I picked up the phone. "This is Robert." "Robert, it's James from IT. We've got a serious problem. There's been a data breach. Some sensitive information might have been leaked." My heart sank. "How bad is it?" "We're still checking, but employee records and financial data may have been accessed." "I'll be there in a few minutes." Gather the team and start working on stopping the breach and seeing how bad it is. I hung up and turned back to Jessica. "I'm sorry, I have to handle this right away. We'll finish our talk later." "Of course, Robert. Good luck," she said as she left. In IT, everyone was tense. Screens showed lines of code and charts while the team raced to contain the breach. James, a veteran IT expert, filled me in. "We've found where the attack started. It looks like someone from outside, but we're tracing it, he said. Do we know what they got? I asked, looking at his screen. Not fully yet, but it includes employee personal data and some financial reports. Okay. First we lock everything down. Then we inform the people affected and put in extra security. We spent the rest of the day securing systems and checking the damage. By evening, we knew the breach was serious, but contained before it hit our most critical data. At an emergency board meeting that night, I addressed everyone directly. We've had a data breach. Our priority is keeping employee information safe and protecting the company. We're on it. A few days later, as I walked through the office, I overheard Jessica talking to a new hire. Remember, what matters isn't where you come from, but what you bring to the team. Hard work and honesty count here. I paused, proud of how far we'd come. Though systems were back online, we still needed to find who did it and why. Our team worked around the clock, digging through logs for clues. One afternoon, I gathered Michael, Jessica, Karen, and our core team. We have to find out who did this, I said. Michael nodded. I've spotted something. There's a unique bit of code left behind. It matches something we've seen before. Where have we seen it? Jessica asked. Michael brought up the code on a screen. It's almost as if someone knew our system inside out. Karen looked worried. You mean it's an insider? Exactly, Michael said. I traced an IP address in the logs back to a device registered under Edward's name. There was a shocked silence. Edward, I repeated, stunned. Edward, the former manager who'd tormented me and been fired for his bad behavior. Are you sure? I asked. Michael nodded. He tried to download project plans, financials, and employee records. If he'd succeeded, it would have been a disaster. My jaw tightened. We need proof, and then confront him. For days, we gathered evidence. Michael's cyber skills plus Jessica's attention to detail and Karen's persistence uncovered the full trail. Edward had used his laptop to hack us. Finally, we had all we needed. I set up a meeting with Edward under the pretense of a severance discussion. He arrived confident, not knowing what was coming. Edward, I said calmly, thank you for coming. We need to discuss the data breach. He smirked. What about it? I slid a folder across the table. We have evidence pointing to you. His face went pale. This is nonsense. You have no proof. Michael spoke up. We traced your IP, your device, and your login to the attacks. You're caught. Edward sneered. I'll deny everything. Jessica leaned in. Deny all you want. The evidence is clear. I looked him in the eye. Why, Edward? Why did you do this? He snarled. You humiliated me, Robert. I wanted revenge. I shook my head. You brought this on yourself. He stood, furious. This isn't over. You'll regret it. Then stormed out. I felt a weight lift. Edward's true nature was exposed. That afternoon, I called another all-hands meeting. Everyone, I began. We identified who caused the breach. It was Edward. His actions came from spite, not professionalism. I paused. But remember, your education doesn't define you. Your character does. Integrity, respect, and teamwork are what count here. The room was quiet. Then heads nodded in agreement. Let's move forward stronger and together, I said. The applause that followed showed our team's resilience. We faced adversity, learned from it, and grew closer. As I looked around, I knew that united, we could handle anything the future brought.